I absolutely loved that song. That was gorgeous, honestly. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be listening to the compilation album Covers from the band Deftones. Now this is officially my 100th video on YouTube, so I wanted to make sure it was something kind of special, and it seemed only appropriate to do something Deftones related, since Deftones were the band that really got me into doing these album reactions in the first place. So I figured I would listen to all of their cover songs. They put out a compilation album in 2011 of most of their covers. There's some more too on their B-Sides and Rarities album, so I was kind of confused of which one I should do a reaction to. There's a lot of crossover between the two albums. So I figured I would just do a reaction to Covers, and then I might also throw in the handful of tracks that are on the B-Sides and Rarities album that are not included on the Covers album, and just check these songs out. I'm really excited to hear some new music from Deftones that I've never heard before. So yeah, let's dive right on into my reaction. Alright, so starting things off with track 1, we have Drive. This is a song originally by The Cars. I really like that percussion at the start. Who's gonna tell you when? I've missed Chino's voice. It's been too long since I've heard new Deftones music. Who's gonna pay attention? Who's gonna plug your ears? I really like that piano. It's got kind of an electronic element to it. This track really does have a great acoustic element to it, but then they infuse on those little electronic sounds too that are really subtle, but they kind of give this track, I don't know, just a really interesting combination of elements. That was track 1, Drive. Something very peaceful, kind of calming about that track. Pretty acoustic, reined in with its sound. I liked the very minimalistic electronic stuff though that they were adding on at times. And I thought Chino's voice definitely suited that track. It kind of had almost like a longing, mournful quality to it. I've definitely heard the original version of that track by The Cars. I liked that cover though. I thought they did a great job kind of adding their little Deftones touch on it without losing the sound of the original. Up next is the track Caress, which is originally by the band Drive Like Jehu. Okay, this one's off to a pretty speedy start. This track almost has an adrenaline vibe to it. Chino's vocals sound like they did when he was younger, like on their earlier stuff. This song is really intense with its delivery, but it's retaining this awesome airiness. Like with the percussion, it's just got this lightness to its sound. That was track 2, Caress. That one did not sound familiar at all to me, so I'm gonna say I've never heard the original by Drive Like Jehu. That one was definitely more aggressive, more punchy than that first track. It almost sounded to me like it was recorded at an earlier time in the Deftones' career, because I know this is a compilation album, so I'm assuming these tracks all haven't been recorded at the same time, so I'm curious if maybe Drive was recorded a little bit later on. But yeah, I loved all of Chino's screams going on in that one, just a lot of aggression, a lot of energy coming right at you. Alright, up next is track 3, which is Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want. This one is originally by The Smiths. Those guitars are great. This one's got this really big, open, atmospheric sound to it. It almost sounds like there's some like slight distortion on his vocals maybe. That was track 3, Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want. I really liked that little electronic bit there at the end. Super cool. Again, kind of like the first track, Drive. It's kind of like a fusion of some electronic sounding stuff with more of an acoustic vibe. I would say that one sounded less acoustic than Drive, but it just kind of had like a really stripped down, more bare bones sound to it. But it also had a really great expansive, atmospheric, kind of echoey quality to it as well. All right, moving on to track 4 now, we have No Ordinary Love, and this one is originally by Sade. I give you all the love I got, I gave you love. Is this even Chino? This almost doesn't sound like him. It's got like a lighter, more clean sound than Chino's vocals typically have. Say that a love like ours will last. I give you all the love I got, I gave you all. There's 2 vocalists on this one. I keep trying. Really nice percussion. There's something very like deconstructed and kind of cold about the sound of it, like it's just rattling around. This is a fascinating song to listen to. They're doing some funky stuff. That was track 4, No Ordinary Love, originally by Sade. I think I've heard the original of that song, but that cover was just awesome. It had that amazing kind of dark, eerie Deftones creepiness that I love from Deftones music. And then that second vocalist really threw me. I was not expecting that. I thought their voices just worked really, really well together. And just the sound of that track, the atmosphere that they managed to create, I thought was fantastic. Moving on to track 5, we have Savory. This one is originally by the band Jawbox. There's a great kind of hollow sound to the percussion on this one. All of a sudden, this track just gave me very strong Weezer vibes with its sound. That was track 5, Savory. Again, another one that I'm not at all familiar with the original version. Pretty minimalistic of a track overall. There wasn't really a whole lot going on with the instrumentals. It was pretty much just like his vocals and the guitar and the percussion. But they had really unique tones to the instrumentals. Like I said, it had a great kind of hollow sound to it. Moving on to track 6, we have Do You Believe? And this song is originally by the band The Cardigans. Oh yeah, this one's awesome. It's got that great Deftones atmospheric quality to it, but it's bringing some amazing intensity with these guitars. Yeah, you hear that with the guitars? It's like they're revving up. I love it. Track 6, Do You Believe? Yeah, I've never heard the original of that one before, at least I don't think I have. I absolutely loved that Deftones cover though. That was awesome. That one honestly just sounded like a Deftones song. It didn't even really sound like a cover. It had that amazing atmospheric quality to it, kind of an echoiness to Chino's vocals, and the instrumentals just absolutely brought it. I loved the guitar on that one. It was like throughout the track it just kept revving up and just getting almost more intense intense with its sound. Alright, moving on to track 7, we have Simple Man, and this one is originally by Leonard Skynyrd, if I'm saying that right. I love that guitar. It's got a great tone to it. I actually have heard the original. This chorus sounds very, very familiar. This song's making me a little bit emotional, actually. I'm not really sure why. It just has kind of a melancholy tone to it, but then you've got these awesome instrumentals that are bringing more of an aggressive, like, rock edge. That was track 7, Simple Man. I absolutely loved that song. That was gorgeous, honestly. It fused a sort of like melancholy, acoustic, really low-key vibe with this awesome kind of intense, like I said, rock sounding edge too. The guitars, like that guitar solo toward the end brought this surge of energy, but then his vocals would come back in and it would kind of lull you into this more melodic acoustic sound, and they fused the two really well. But up next we have track 8, which is Ghosts, and this one is originally by the band Japan. Okay, this one's a little bit different. This one's got some really fascinating percussive elements, like some chimes, and it almost sounds like a xylophone maybe that they're using to make that sound. Yeah, like that random chime. And now we've got some synths coming in. This cover is very reminiscent of Chino's side project Crosses. It absolutely has that kind of more electronic, synth-heavy, like dark, witchy vibe to it. That was track 8, Ghosts. I really enjoyed that one. A lot of electronic, kind of experimental stuff going on. The synths paired with those chimes and all of those really unique percussive elements, it had a very unique tone to it. I've never exactly heard Deftones in that style. It definitely made me want to check out the band Japan though, because I really liked that song and I don't think I've ever heard the original before, so I'm definitely going to have to give that a listen. Alrighty, up next is track 9, which is The Chauffeur, and this one is originally by Duran Duran. Chino's vocals sound really smooth and clean on this one, very clear. I actually really like Chino's tone of voice on this. I kind of like that clearer quality to it. Okay, here we go. Now they're bringing a little bit more of that heavier, like denser rock quality. Some subtle electronic sounds yet again. track 9, The Chauffeur. I really liked the end of that one, how they just brought that punchiness. It was like throughout that track, it kind of was amping up, like you could almost feel it building up, and then I really liked how they delivered on that heavier, denser sound at the end there with the guitar. I don't know, it just had less of that kind of atmospheric, almost washed out sound that sometimes Deftones really embraces. That one, they kind of kept his voice a little bit louder, more up front and center, if that makes sense. Moving on to track 10, we have If Only Tonight We Could Sleep. This one is originally by The Cure, and it looks like this is a live version that Deftones recorded. I love, again, the fusions of sounds. That guitar is awesome. And then you have that twangy sounding instrumental too. It's very reminiscent of some of the sounds they use on the track Select Start off of Saturday Night Wrist. Again, Deftones, they have this very distinct signature sound that I've really only known Deftones to have. They infuse it in all of their music, even when they're doing covers. It's like they put their touch on everything that they do. That was track 10, If Only Tonight We Could Sleep. I really loved that one. It had this super creepy tone to it, and they fused, again, that Deftones quality I was talking about with some really fascinating instrumentals that I think are more in line with The Cure and kind of what The Cure does with their music, and they mashed those two qualities up so well. It just made for a really cohesive cover of like Deftones and what they do, but they stayed true to The Cure and what they bring to that track. All right, moving on to track 11, which is the last song on the Covers compilation album. We have Sleepwalk, and this one is originally by Santo and Johnny. This one has almost like a jazz band quality to it. I wonder if this one's going to stay completely instrumental. I loved that bass just there. That sounded awesome. Track 11, Sleepwalk. I guess I was right. That one was just instrumental completely, no vocals from Chino or anyone else. It had a really great, like, acoustic, kind of mellow vibe to it, just very chill sounding, almost like you're just watching a band perform in a coffee shop or something. All right, so now I'm going to move on to a couple of the covers that Deftones has on their B-Sides and Rarities album that are not on the Covers album, and I'm also going to skip the acoustic versions of some of Deftones songs. I'm just going to listen to new songs that I haven't heard yet. So that means up first is track 2 off of B-Sides and Rarities, and this one is Wax and Wane, originally by Cocteau Twins. Again, I really like that percussion. It has this awesome, clangy, cold, industrial sound to it. Almost a hollowness, again. There's like some really subtle, I can't tell if it's piano or like maybe a keyboard. It's kind of a nice little touch. Yeah, and yet again, we have another track with that really great expansive sound to it. Very atmospheric. Yeah, and those cymbals, they just have this amazing airy quality to them. Track 2 off of B-Sides and Rarities, that was Wax and Wane. I am not familiar with the original of that one, so again, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I loved how that one had a certain denseness from the guitar, and then the percussion really balanced that out great with that super light, airy percussion and kind of a hollow sound to it. And then again with Chino's vocals, and it sounded like some distortion at times. Just a really great atmospheric quality to that one. Alright, so moving on, and again skipping the covers I've already heard off of their covers album and skipping the acoustic versions of Deftones songs. That means up next is track 5, which is Sinatra, and this one is originally by the band Helmet. Ooh, I like this one already. It's so heavy. I hate everything as much as I hate me. Yeah, that aggression is definitely coming out in this one. Again, this one sounds like earlier Deftones era, just with more of that growly, unpolished sound. I loved all of that distortion. It was just like something was building up. There's this awesome tension to this track. Some Chino screams going on. That was track 5, Sinatra. All I can say is I absolutely have to check the band Helmet out after hearing that cover because that was awesome. But yeah, the Deftones version of that one just had this amazing tension to it, but they also brought the aggression, and yet again, they're doing that awesome Deftones thing where it's super atmospheric, like your head is floating around, but at the same time, there was such an awesome heaviness, like a denseness to the sound of that one that I just absolutely loved. Alright, moving on to track 8 on B-Sides and Rarities, we have Crenshaw Punch / I'll Throw Rocks at You, and this one doesn't list a original artist for the song, so I'm thinking it's maybe just like a B-side song that Deftones recorded for one of their albums. I'm not sure, so yeah, let's check it out. Man, there's a really awesome smoothness to this one. His vocals are so eerie on this track. It's like he's whispering them. This track just has a really great, dark, heavy, kind of creepy, weirdly like sensual vibe in a way that is very reminiscent of Around the Fur. I feel like this song could have been on Around the Fur, and it kind of would have fit with the sound of that album. That was track 8, Crenshaw Punch / I'll Throw Rocks at You. I would be very surprised if that is a cover of another band's song because it sounded very heavily Deftones. Like that sounded to me like it was all Deftones. So atmospheric and yet so heavy and dense at the same time. Deftones just fuses those two elements so well. And last up for the songs on B-Sides and Rarities that are not included on the covers album, we have track 9, which is Black Moon. This is yet another one where an original artist isn't listed, so I'm thinking this is another kind of rarities or B-side song from Deftones' discography. You know what, you can't come popping that shit. If you run up, guess what? I wasn't expecting this. Hold steady for the lyrical medley with deadly rhymes in alphabetical order or one at a time. I got mad crew. You on the camera, guess what? I see you. What you gonna do? Yeah, this one's different, bringing some hip-hop vibes to Deftones. I'm not sure who this main vocalist is, though. I heard Chino kind of in the background there.
In the boondocks with the AK. What you gonna do? I got bad crew.
Yeah, that scream is definitely Chino. Again, very eerie and atmospheric with its sound. Like the background stuff going on behind the rapping here. Well, that was track 9, Black Moon. Very unexpected. I wasn't expecting a hip-hop track off of these B-Sides and Rarities, but I guess you never know what you're going to get with Deftones. I love how they kept it really atmospheric, though, with the stuff going on in the background, and you can really hear the influences of like other genres outside of rock and metal that Deftones has utilized in their music. Like that one really reminded me of the tracks Lucky You and Pink Cell Phone off of their self-titled and Saturday Night Wrist. It just had those vibes to it. Alright, so that is going to conclude my reaction to the Covers compilation album and kind of the B-Sides and Rarities album from Deftones. This reaction was a blast to film. I'm really glad I've finally gone through and heard some of Deftones' like obscure stuff and the covers that they've done from other artists. And it's very apparent to me after listening to these two compilation albums how Deftones really does pull in so many different genres and sounds into their music. I loved their cover of No Ordinary Love, originally by Sade. That was definitely a huge standout for me. And their cover of Simple Man I thought was fantastic. A little bit more restrained, more in the acoustic vein of things. And their cover of Sinatra, originally by the band Helmet, I loved that one too. That one had an awesome punchiness, kind of a heaviness to it. Definitely let me know down in the comments if I missed anything, if there's any other hidden Deftones gems you want me to react to here on my channel. I would love to hear them. And yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.